Okay, thanks for joining me back in the workshop. So this one is just a relatively quick and simple little project that I'm working on. It's a dice tower. Now I never knew these things existed. It's thanks to someone that came along to the Christmas tree festival that I'd done towards the end of last year. They made me aware of it. And since then I've had a look at a few different styles and I quite like them actually. And they are relatively straightforward to build. As Steve Ramsey from Woodworking for Mere Mortals says, everything's a box in woodworking. And that's essentially what this is. It's just a box that will eventually go inside another box sitting like that. If you don't watch Steve Ramsey, go over and have a look at him, his stuff. Really good, funny fellow. He's got some interesting stuff that he's made. So if you follow me on any of my socials, you'll see that I put this up. It was a test piece. Like I say, someone told me about these at my Christmas tree festival, and I've been playing around with different styles, different ideas, looking at loads of different things. Yes, I did make the opening too big. I'm not worried about it. It's just a test piece, and I want to make these at a shallower angle as well, so they sit more, probably more closer to 30-35 degrees instead. These are 45. And then I'm going to make it a thinner material, so obviously the opening in here will be bigger. The actual dimensions of it are going to basically be the same. So I've got this nice little boxed in that I've got from Surrey Timbers. It's a bit of oak, and I think it'll be absolutely lovely for this. I do like working with oak, as you may be able to tell from a few things I've made. Now, as you can see, I should be able to get back and the front out of this, and then I'm going to get the sides out of this, and then I'm going to add some contrasting pieces into this as well. So I've not worked on what contrasting wheel I want to use with these, because I do want to use something that's a contrast, but hey, as with me, that's something that will come through as the project evolves. So I'm going to get my table saw set up, because I'm going to get the better cuts with this, and we'll just crack on from there. So I'll get that sorted and I'll come back to you shortly. Right, so we're all set up for this now. I have decided now that I'm going to use some Purple Heart as a contrasting piece in this as well. So I think I'm going to make it not just oak all the way around. I think what I'm going to do is oak on the front and the back, and do a Purple Heart sliver on the sides, the side pieces, and then I'm going to do potentially the opposite for the box, the tray. Is I'm going to do maybe oak for the base, and then Purple Heart for the base, and oak for the sides and the ends, just to tie it in that way. And then I'll see what I've got that I'll mess about with for the paddles inside, if you want to call them paddles. I don't know what you would call them. So that's the next stage, is just get this cut down to size. I have marked it out. I've measured this out to where I want it. I'm happy with where my cut line's going to be. So I'm just going to go and rip 2 pieces off of this as well for now. No, what do I need? I need 3 pieces off of this. Once I've got them, I'll then work out what I've got left over, and then how I'm actually going to do the box and other stuff from there. So for a minute, let's just get things cut. So like I say, that's what will be. Obviously it's not going to be this wide, front and back, and then one of these will be split down to be the sides, and then we'll do base. I'll split that down. No, I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to do oak as the base and the Purple Heart for the side, just because I am going to put a little bit of a liner in the actual base of it, a little felt liner, the same as what I used in a box that I made. I don't know if you've seen that video. Not going to have little butchers. And obviously that will completely hide the Purple Heart, and that would be such a shame. It's a shame to hide oak, but the Purple Heart is such a lovely piece of wood that it will be a real shame to hide that beneath the felt. So yeah, we'll do it that way around instead. So then I could change up and do Purple Heart as a front and back, and do oak as the sides. No, I'm going to stick with oak being the front and back, the main pieces, and using the Purple Heart just as a contrast. And then it will be an oak base, Purple Heart sides, and I'll do the paddles inside as Purple Heart, or a mixture of Purple Heart and oak. Maybe I might do one as one or the other, who knows. So that's the next step now, is get them cut down to the size that I need. So I'm going to make it essentially 3 by 3, so it's going to be a square. Just keeps everything nice and easy. And then I'll do the tray as well. Obviously it has to be just a little bit over that. Right, now we've got these sizes worked out. I'm just going to go ahead and rip these down. I'm going to basically make it as a square, so it will be a tube in that way. Just less wastage of wood. That's how I'm seeing it. Right, so another little spin on the design, or change should I say on the design. I am going to leave the actual box in oak. That's how I'm going to leave it. From that, I'm then going to use the Purple Heart as a contrast wood running through the sides as the paddles, so it helps to deflect the balls inside. That's what I'm going to do with them. And then I am going to make the box out of Purple Heart and oak, just so there is a bit more contrast and it ties everything in. Purple Heart on the sides and oak on the, Purple Heart on the sides and at the ends, and oak as the base. That's what it's going to be. I've changed, I've settled, so done, 100% sorted, I think, for now. Let's crack on. Right, so this is where we're up to now. Don't know why, but the camera seemed to shut itself off again. Got the main box. It's not glued together or anything yet at the moment, so I've got the panels inside. But that's what it's going to look like. This is going to be the box itself. That'll go there. Be a bit of Purple Heart either end, and then Purple Heart on the side. I've marked these out because I'm going to cut this section off, so that what it'll do, it'll give a nice taper down from the box here down to the front. Just looks a bit nicer, and then once you actually lay the box down, it gives you a way of being able to take the box out a bit easier as well. So that's where we're at. So my next step now is get that cut, then I can start getting everything all glued together. Now, I am going to just glue it. I'm not going to pin it because I don't want any ugly pins coming through. I did contemplate on doing some small dowels, but I'm not keen on that either. I like the way this looks, just being the way it is. So that's how it's going to stay. So next step, get these cut. So I've taped them together because I want to try and keep them as symmetrical as possible. Once it's all cut and all the boxes glued together, obviously I'll give it a sand over to get it all nice and even. Anyway, so let's get this done. Let's crack on. Ear protection. So that's them trimmed. I do need to work out the angle on the front piece as well, but we'll get there in a minute. So there is a reason why I'm not going ahead and gluing it all together right now. It's because I want to get to the parts inside and sand everything before I glue it together. But that's giving you a rough look at what it's going to be like. Now this will taper off to the same as this, but I'll do that through sanding instead, just because when I put it on my belt sander, I'll be able to get it just so it runs nicely and smooth together. But so far so good. Now I do need to cut the opening in here still, and I also need to cut the paddles for inside, so I'm going to do those out of Purple Heart as well, just so there is a nice little ties it all in, because at the moment the only thing that's got Purple Heart is the tray. So I want to do this with Purple Heart paddles inside, and the little step at the bottom, or the little ledge at the bottom that rolls the dice out, I'm going to do that in Purple Heart as well. That will be in there, and again that will just tie everything together. I think it will look proper afterwards. Let's crack on. So now we're at a stage where we've got everything cut, all shaped up. That's going to be this. Can't even see it. That's going to be the sides and the base of the box, and then the front and back. So the next step is, at this stage, what I want to do is give everything a good sanding up. Just get everything all roughly sanded, probably down to about 180, 240, somewhere around about that, and then I can get it all glued together, because then I'm not going to be able to obviously sand the inside, so I want to get the inside at least to a good state that when I wax it or finish it, whatever finish I put on it in the end, it will take properly on the inside. So that's the next step. Let's just crack on. Right, so that is everything sanded down now to 240, which I'm happy with. And it's only more, I didn't go too mad with it, didn't go too heavy, because it's only more for cleaning up. This oak at the ends of it had some wax on it, which is where the company where I buy the wood from, they wax the ends of it just to help stop the moisture getting into the end. So it's more just cleaning all those bits and pieces off and just some of the pencil marks out. It's a S4S timber anyway, which means squared four sides, and it's planed and sanded and smooth and lovely anyway when you get it. So it don't need a lot of clean up, which is good. Obviously you do pay a little bit more for that. So that's that done. Next step now is glue up. Alright, so what I'm going to do is, with the box side of things, or I should say with the actual tower, I'm only going to glue 3 sides at the moment. Yeah, so then that way it gives me the space, it'll be like that. I didn't have the space to get the paddles in. I keep calling them paddles, is that the right term for them? I don't know. First one I've ever made. If it's not the right term, let me know. I'm sure you guys are kicking yourselves or wanting to kick me, telling me that's not the right term. Or whatever. It's what I'm saying it is, so there you go. So anyway. So yeah, that will give me the space to then put the paddles in. So I'm going to put a couple in, and then I'm going to put the final drop in at the end, so the dice roll out of the tower as well. So that's how I'm going to set it up. I need to decide on where I'm going to be putting the paddles, because that's going to decide on obviously where the last one goes, but also it will decide on where I'm going to cut the opening out in the front panel. I roughly know where it is, but as you know, with the mock-up one I put it in the wrong spot, so it weren't any good. So let's get this one glued together. So all I'm going to do for the moment is just place this one in there dry, just so it helps keep the shape. So for the moment that can go to the side. So now we can get the tray actually glued up. I need to start getting my clamps ready before I start doing stuff. I keep doing this. Right, so that's that. Clamp the bejeebus out of as well. Now just let all that dry. Give it a few hours, maybe overnight, we'll see. But that's that for now. So I'm going to get this put away, because I don't need this anymore. Because the next stage I'll be able to get the table back down again and just finish sanding and everything on it. So I'll catch you back shortly. Right. So I thought I had the play button pushed. Clearly I was mistaken. So unfortunately it's missed a couple of steps, but I'll sort of talk you through them as we go now. But this is where we are. So I took everything out of clamps. The last thing I think I said to the camera was I'm putting my table saw away, and that was it. I didn't put it straight away. I think that's what happened. I turned the camera off then to put it away. Thought I'd turn it back on again, but just hadn't. So All I've done since the camera's been off is I cut the little paddles for the inside and a little bit for here. So you can sort of see them in there. I need to get some better light for the camera. But you've got one here and then another one just a little bit further down from it. So obviously the dice will hit that one, roll onto that one, hit this, and then roll that into the tray. So everything is turning out really good. That's the tray so far. It's turned out really nice. And then that will be in there like that. So I will put a bit of felt in the bottom here because it will just tidy up, make it look nicer, and wind it down when the dice rolled in there. But that's it really and truly, almost done. Just needs a final sanding. So that's the idea behind it. Everything stays nice and tidy. If you want to do it, you can obviously take it out, put it in like that. There we go. You can always leave the dice in there as well, pack it away in a cupboard or whatever, and it's all tidy. So I'm really happy with the way it actually fits in the box. Quite chuffed with that. I'm not a cabinet maker or box maker or anything else, you guys know that. I'm just probably just a hobbyist is what I class myself as. But I'm really chuffed with it. So the only other thing I've done since, is I've beveled this front off as well, just so the profile of it runs nicely rather than just being a flat lip there. I wanted the profile to run nice along it and just curved out there. There's many different ways you can do it. You can have it like that in the sides running all the way along, and then you can just cut some finger holes in here just so you can get to the box and lift it out. I quite like that. It's just a nice little style rather than just being a flat chest. Also, when it's set up, ready to play, it's a nice shallow bit of tray here. So obviously the dice, you ain't got to worry about trying to get the dice out. It's easy. So the next step, final sand, then give it a good coat of wax, and that will be it. I am going to just break the edges as well slightly with a bit of sandpaper. Just take the edges off to help stop any splintering or anything else. So let's crack on with that. I was thinking about doing a round over on it or a little chamfer and stuff, but I quite like the way it looks as it is, so I'm not going to go that route. Just going to give these corners a nice little soften. And that'll be it. If anyone wants any info on this, size-wise, angles of the paddles inside, anything like that, just drop me a comment. Yeah, I'll reply to pretty much all the comments. So I'll just join you on there. We'll have a little chat. I'll give you any tips you want. You may be able to give me some tips. I'm working on trying to get a few more videos up as well. I've got another one in the pipeline which should hopefully be finished not long after this. That's one that I've been working on for a little while now. It's had a few complications, but I'll explain that in that video. But I hope that to be finished, like I say, for the next video. Or I hope it to be the next video, should I say. So thank you again. I'm going to say it at the moment on most videos, I know I have done. Thank you to all of those that are subscribed. That whether that's the new ones, I much appreciate it all. Whether that's any of the old lot, I appreciate you all massively. Obviously this year my intentions is to try and grow the channel more, so we can actually make it so I can put a few more videos out there, a few more interesting ones. That is the plan. Whether there's any little tips you guys want to give me in for what you'd like to see, what would interest you, whether it's me talking a bit more about products or projects, whether it's me shutting up and just getting on with things, let me know. Also, if you follow me on any of my socials, you may get a glimpse of this before the video's posted. So if you're not following me on social, why not? Just go over. You'll get a notification of when I post things. I'll also update you guys a bit more about what I'm doing here on YouTube. You know, I post a few more things on there. My other half, she takes care of the TikTok side of things because I'm not a TikTok person, I'm not a fan. But she is, so she deals with that. I need to get to updating the website more, updating Facebook more this year. I need to get better at all that lot to communicate with you guys. So that's the inside of the tray. Once it's had a wax, obviously that purple heart will pop even more. Right, so there we are, final sanded. I'm really happy with that. It's turned out really, really nice. So I'm going to wax it now. I'm not going to wax the inside of this part. I will wax the inside of the sides, but not the base, just because I want to leave that free so it doesn't stop the stickiness of the pad. Right, now everything's ready for a wax. Now again, don't forget, if you're interested in any of this, this is available on the website, or even drop me a message on here, comment on here, and we'll have a chat and I can get some sorted for you. I always apply, especially with the first coat, a very liberal coating, get it smothered over it. So I want it to sort of sit overnight, let it soak in as much of the mineral oil as it can, as much of the wax. Now obviously this is where if you're using like a spray finish, you could do a lot of that before you put it together. I suppose I probably could have done some of that with this, just mark out where you're going to be gluing stuff up, leave that part untouched, whether you mark it, whether you mask it up or whatever you do, you can leave that bit untouched so your glue still gets a good bond. That would be probably the best way of doing it, and then everything has a good coating of whatever finish you're using. I pretty much always use this wood wax, which is one I make. I pretty much always use this on every wooden thing that I make. So even the dining table I made, if you didn't see that video, pop over and have a look at it. But even on that, I coloured it with a wood wax, but then I finished it with this wax to give it a nice protection, seal it up. Probably wouldn't better to do the inside before I've done the outside, wouldn't it? Wouldn't be sticking to me, mat. Right, so that will sit there now overnight, letting it soak in as much of the oils from that wax as possible, and that'll be it. That'll be done. So I'll bring you back tomorrow for that, and then that'll be project finally done. They've been sitting for a day or so, soaking in as much oils and stuff from the wax as I want it to. So now time to give it a good buff, good clean up. We try and do it without a dusty hand next time. Keep leaving me dusty prints all over it. So the last thing I've got to do is cut a bit of felt for the tray, and then that'll be job done. Now if I make another one of these, if they do sell as well as what I hope they will, then the next ones I'm actually going to make probably out of a cheaper wood. This is more just to sort of show off a little bit, I suppose, using some fancy woods. Obviously depends on what the customer wants as well. So that's the tower. This lights really don't do it justice. So you can see the purple heart, a little bit there, and which way am I going with it? Little purple heart there, and another one inside. This is the felt I've got. Ignore these bits here, there's where a bit of dust is on it. But they're self-adhesive felt sheets. So I'm just going to trim that down, get that in there. So I do cut it a little bit long, a little bit big, just with the hope of that once it goes in there I can probably snug it up a little bit more. So I am going to double it up just to make it a bit more plush. So cut it a little bit wide like I say, and then it will sit in there nicely, and then you can snug it up just with the edge of the back of the knife is what I normally do. If this, depending on how this one sits, I'll show you what I mean. I'm going to work on trying to get some different cameras in here as well, so you guys can get a better view of things. That actually fit perfect, so I don't need to trim it anymore. What I do is I leave the knife open and I get the back end, so the back end of the blade, and I just sort of tuck it in, make a line along it, and then I'll go back again with the actual sharp side of the knife and cut it. And of course I've got it covered in dust again. That is it. What I'll do is I'll add some pictures on at the end like I normally do, just to give you guys a bit more of a view and show you what it looks like properly. But let's give it a quick try anyway. So that sits in there lovely. Perfect. Alright, thanks for watching, people. I'll catch you on the next one. Don't forget, while you're there, if you're not subscribed, go ahead and subscribe. Help me get it above that 500, then we can actually start moving the channel forward a bit easier. Thank you very much. See you soon.